Welcome back to Tales from the Trials. This is Jazz. I am joined this time by Michelle.
Again.
And this week we're talking about preparing for your first trial. Michelle, do you have any opening thoughts?
I have all sorts of things that I wish I knew that nobody told me before I started showing my novice A dog. And I started in scent work, which is generally like a super easy sport, right? Just kind of expectations. I didn't go to a trial before I started showing, and I probably should have. Volunteer at trials before you show at trials, I guess, is my number one big thing.
Fair enough. And we have today's episode broken down into things to do before a trial, day of the trial, and after the trial, which I thought was a fun little addition.
Yes.
So our last trial, we actually were trialing at the same trial. We had a UKC nosework trial. That is the one I was also trial chair for, and that was an experience. It was overall a very good experience, but it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into putting a trial together, it turns out.
We need to have an episode to where you just ramble about trial chair.
But we're trying to encourage more people to do it.
Well, I mean, you can edit and just like say the fun stuff. I say that.
It sounds like it's really bad. It really wasn't that bad. I had a wonderful group of ladies helping me out, and the whole show ran fantastic. We had an amazing judge. I can't pronounce her last name, but her first name's Cara. She's out of Oklahoma. She is somehow more sarcastic than I am, which is a very high bar to cross.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
At one point, she told me that Merle and I were codependent on each other, and I've been laughing about that daily for a week.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah. She also told me I was cock blocking my dog because I was standing between my dog and where the hide was. It was. And we have that on video, thanks to Jazz.
We do have that on video. And then right after the video ended, our timer was our friend Natalie. She looks over, watches me lose my mind laughing because I was trying to hold it in on the video. And then Cara made that comment, and I just sitting over there just going red in the face. And I was just like, oh my God, she just said that. At the same time, I'm also like mentally fuming because for some reason you called Dagon when he wasn't even close to alerting.
Yeah, I don't know. It was Sunday afternoon. It was like trial 2. I was like, I'm just not feeling it right now. I'm just gonna be done. So I made it to where we were just done.
Even Dagon looked at you like, I didn't say anything. He gave you the biggest side eye. I'm gonna try to get that video in here because it was amazing. But yeah, so that trial was an absolute blast.
It was a blast.
Cannot wait to have it again.
Our team, me and Dagon, had like a 50% Q rate, but we had a blast. So like, I really don't care. And we already have our elite nosework title in UKC. So this was all just like fun championship scores that we were going for. So again, I really didn't care. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been cock blocking my dog for mine.
Am I going to have to put a word filter rating on the beginning of this episode?
I mean, maybe. We'll see. We'll see if it gets worse or not.
We do try to keep the podcast G-rated.
We do.
But there are some things that are said that cross into that PG-13 line. Our judge said one of them. It was amazing. I really hope, because she found out about this podcast that weekend.
Oh, did she?
Because Susan was helping us set up, and she was like, oh, Jazz, I've been listening to your podcast. And Gara turned around, she's like, you have a podcast? And I was like, we do, actually. So I might have to send her this one specifically so she can listen to the first 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And bringing that in, even really well-trained dogs who know exactly what they're doing, and handlers who have been through the whole process will still have some weird nerves and hiccups that happen during trials.
Yeah. No, Kara called me out multiple times during her trial. And she even asked us to be dog in white, which is like the demo dog, to make sure that hides are set correctly and airflow is going where it should be going. So we had a lot of fun, like demo runs too.
She had a lot more faith in Merle than I did because she actually asked him to be the vehicle demo dog.
Oh.
And that was before you had gotten there on the first day. Okay. So when you came in, then I was kind of frustrated with him. He had tried to poop in the middle of the run. I had taken him out to go potty already because we were setting everything up. And so I was standing out there. I was like, all right, do you need to go poop? Because I need you to go poop right now. And he just looks at me and he's like, I'm done. And I'm like, okay. So then he gets to sniffing around and she's like, hey, he's crittering. And I watch his back feet creep up and he's wearing a harness that has a handle on the back. And he's done this in barn hunt. And so I know it can mess up an entire search area if a dog eliminates in it. You could also get him knocked possibly. Maybe I might be wrong from the rest of the trial, or is it just the one?
It's just the one.
Okay, so it just would have messed everybody else up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's still not great.
No.
So I had all those thoughts running through my head at that time.
And not great is what came out. That's fantastic.
No, what came out was, don't you freaking dare, as I pick him up, but freaking was not the word that was used. And I grabbed his harness and picked him up and apparently scared the poop back into him because we then went around the building and it took him so long that she had to go get one of her own dogs to be dog in white because we didn't have enough people there yet for her to find someone who could do
run a demo dog. Yeah.
And I come back, she's like, what took so long? I went, well, apparently I scared it back into him. And then she watched him the rest of the day, and I feel like part of her was like, it's probably a good thing I didn't have that dog as my dog in white, because he doesn't tell her where stuff is.
Yeah, Merle's still very subtle. No, Kara had great things to say about my dog. She had some not so great things to say about my dog's handler, which was more than fair.
Oh, and all of her critiques were in good fun.
I mean,
she wasn't mean.
Oh,
ever.
No.
It was very sarcastic,
hilarious.
Which made me very happy because I love sarcasm.
And I appreciated all of them.
And we're 100% going to try to bring her on for a Nosework seminar for 2026. And maybe possibly get her on the podcast at some point because that would just be entertaining. We might have to put an actual content warning on it for people who don't want curse words. Because I'm not entirely sure my filter would hold that well.
That's fair.
And all that to bring us into our first topic, which is pre-trial. Before you get to a trial, leading up to it, we have a list of things. So I will say the thing. Chime in if you have a story.
Okay.
Or comments.
All right.
Please don't let me talk the whole time again. I talked so much in the last episode.
Did you get tired of listening to your own voice when you were editing?
And when I listened to it back and I realized that I had not made cuts in spots that I remembered making cuts in. And so we lost a few chunks of conversation where I was just like, oh, yeah, no, 10 o'clock me should not be in charge of editing. And to start, prepping for success before your trial. Obviously, the first thing, set realistic expectations. Don't be like me and get fooled into your dog qualifying and titling in their first trial and suddenly think that that's the norm and then get hit with reality.
Yeah, so a lot of trials have 2 or 3 chances to qualify. So you have two or 3 runs. And most of the time, for at least the lower levels, you need 2 or 3 qualifying scores to title. So it's really unlikely that you're going to title your first trial because there's going to be mistakes and there's just not that many chances for you to qualify.
The next thing is knowing your rules. So getting on the websites, finding the rule books, and actually reading through them. You can skip, for the most part, a lot of the judging requirements if you're getting overwhelmed by the amount of rules. But at some point, go back and read them because it does tell you what the judges are looking for.
Right.
The next one is train in a trial-like setting. So don't just train in your home.
Yeah, and a lot of times, yes, because the things that your dog does at home is going to be completely different than the things your dog does at a trial. So there is a level of proofing that happens. If there's like a show and go or some sort of mock trial in your area before the trial, it's really good to go to one of those. And they're usually like, I don't know, $5 or $10 per run to enter.
I think the most I've seen is like 15 to 20. And those were for like intense
like
ones.
a full, yeah. Like if you're running like all 4 elements in a day, it's like 15 or 20 per dog or whatever. It's going to be dependent on the club that's hosting it.
And definitely check to see if it's per run or per dog.
Yes.
Because some places do change that wording, and it is particular to know how much to expect to pay.
Right.
The next thing is to check for your entry requirements. So the notes that we stuck in here were things like, hey, when does the trial open? Do they have an online thing? Do I have to go get a check from my bank because I'm a Gen Z who doesn't do checks, people?
So I'm a millennial, and the only reason I have a checkbook is for dog sports because I refuse to pay an extra $2 to $5 per entry online to run my dog. Like I would just rather send in, I would rather pay postage.
We are not sponsored by this group that I'm going to shout out. If we ever get sponsored by this group, I will be excited. For the love of God, Secretariat. They keep adding more and more things. They are amazing. And they don't charge a horrible amount. Actually, nope, my phone's over there. I can't pull it up. But I just signed the dogs up for a trial in April in Versailles for NASDA. Yeah. So I don't know their specifics, but from what I've heard, they're incredibly easy for clubs to use. For me to sign up today, it took me less than 10 minutes. And I didn't trust Merle to not be too sensitive to try urban locating. So Dolly's getting to do more things. We're just doing trailing and locating 2 with him. But she's going to do trailing and locating 2 and urban locating 1. Possibly get to move up if she gets one more qualifying leg. She'll have her 100 points. And then she'll get to do her last 2 in the level 2 or level 1 if she doesn't get a Q.
So for our people that don't do NASDA, like me, and you do this to me all the time, can you explain what urban locating is and
I finally
tracking?
get to the receiving end of it.
Welcome
Yay.
to it.
It's so fun. I love that. Shouldn't giggle as much as I am. So urban NASDA is the, how does Becky describe it? She calls it like the brainchild of
barn hunt married tracking.
and then tossed shed hunt in there for why not. So trailing and locating is where the dogs have to find a rat. So that's where the similarities to barn hunt come in. But the rat is in a cage rather than a tube. So they can actually see the rat. It's a very sturdy cage. And they collect the rat litter into essentially a large cheesecloth. And they fill a 5-gallon bucket up with water. And they make what's called rat tea. And this is where the trailing and locating comes in.
Yeah, my first NASDA practice that I went to with the cattle dog, somebody said, "Do you want me to make tea?" And like it was not at all what what I thought she was going for. And I wasn't the only one that was
no, we all fell for it.
What the heck are you talking about?
We all fell for it because then we were asked if we wanted a cup of tea, and one person was smart enough to be like, "Do you mean actual tea?" Because we just learned what rat tea was. So they'll take this cheesecloth container and drag it to create a trail. And it usually goes out a ways. It's in the rule books for the exact specifications of how far it can go. But the dog is allowed to air scent or follow the trail to find the rat. Dolly's most impressive thing that she ever did, when part of the reason I'm really glad that she runs on leash, because you do have the option of running them off leash, she actually technically found a rat in 4 seconds, because she lost the rat that she was looking for, because they set up the trials next to each other. So it's, you go trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, you're done.
Okay.
It's really fast, really efficient.
Yeah.
She was in trial 2, and she had caught the scent for trial 3's rat.
Oh.
And so trial 2, the rat was like, she kind of had to climb up a little bit of a downed tree, and it was in some bramble up there. So it was elevated. She had never found anything elevated before, which is why we specifically practice that now, to remind her you can go up. And so she kept going out of bounds, and there's boundary markers so you can call your dog back. But if she hadn't been on leash and I hadn't been able to give her a little bit of that tension to like, hey, please get over here and try to find this one, she would have obviously still gotten the NQ on that and gone and found that rat, and probably wouldn't have gone back to that rat when we started trial 3. So technically she found that rat in like 4.2 seconds. It was just the time it took her to get to it. And I had already forgotten there was one over there because I had already run Merle, and I was like, by the time you get done running one dog, you forget where the hides were.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, or at least I do. There's just so much else going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't keep track of hides and scent work, nose work trials either.
So that is trailing and locating. Urban locating takes out the rat tea, because you don't want to be putting that in a place where humans are, because urban is indoors or in like a city town-esque area. So the dog is supposed to find the rat in this area and can like point at it and look at it. And one thing I really like about NASDA is the judge tells you when you find the thing. So as soon as the judge notices that the dog has found it, they call it.
Oh.
Do you know how much easier that is for me?
Yeah, yes. Because in every other sport that I play for scent detection stuff, I have to call the alert, and then the judge tells me if I'm wrong or not.
So yeah, that is urban locating and trailing and locating. The next thing is understanding trial etiquette.
Oh, there's so much.
What are the basics so we don't overwhelm everybody?
Oh gosh. Don't be a jerk. Really.
You had to censor yourself.
I did. Are you proud of me? Because I kind of am. Yeah, so just like be mindful of your surroundings and where you are and where your dog is. Don't like camp out in front of or next to the entry points for the search area, right? We love having kids at trials. We do not love your kids coming up to our dogs without permission and at trials. So bring your kids and make sure they're not jerks either.
Yeah, if you're going to bring your kid, which feel free, keep an eye on them. Do not let them go up to a dog at any point without explicitly getting that person's consent at that moment.
Right.
Because there are times, and I've been guilty of this too. Karen is a sweetheart. She always just tells me, because I now know to just always look at her and keep my hands to myself. So she has a senior dog whose name's Trevor, and he really, really likes me. And he's like old scruffy dog, so I love playing with him.
Yeah.
Playing with him, being like light pets.
Right.
I am not allowed to be anywhere near her trialing, because he will try to get attention instead of doing the thing. She has put over 80 titles on this dog.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I will 100% get out of the way so she can continue to see how many titles can she put on this dog. Because he's 15. Harry is 16.
Yeah.
Because I forget they're a year apart. He's just such a fun dog. So like, even as adults, we have to remind ourselves, like, yeah, you got to go ask for permission. You can't just pet every dog you see, no matter how freaking cute they are. And the more you get into dog sports, and the more you get into like niche dog sports, you're going to find a whole lot of different breeds you didn't know existed.
Right.
And they're all adorable.
Yeah. In their own weird way.
Yeah.
Even Chinese crusteds are adorable in their own weird
Elvis
way.
has grown on me.
Yeah. Matrix has kind of grown on me too.
Also, you don't really want your dog interacting with other dogs at a trial unless both people agree. Because again, you might be getting ready to run your dog, so you want your dog to stay focused. Not every dog at every trial is friendly.
Right.
Some dogs have bigger bubbles than others, so they
Yes.
might tell the others to mind their own business a little bit.
Yeah. My two that I show have pretty big space bubbles. So if your dog has a pretty big space bubble, and I'm going to have to start doing this.
Don't put them near walkways.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be a little bit more aware of where I'm crating, like not near the entrance. And I'm going to have to make sure I bring a crate cover for Nike. She kind of got a little bit possessive of her crate space at practice this week.
Yeah.
And she was kind of a jerk.
She was being a turd.
She was. she was kind of a jerk.
She was being rude.
We're going to have to.
And it spooked a couple of the dogs.
Yeah.
We're like, Nike.
Stop.
We did end up moving her because that was the correct thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't think your dog has a problem and suddenly they do, it is okay to just take your dog out to the car real quick if you're doing this by yourself, or have someone hold your dog so you can move their stuff to a better location.
Right.
And no one will be mad at you. Your friends might make fun of you a little bit because that's what we do to each other. But like, no one's going to be mad.
Yeah. No, I fully expected to be called out for that. And I was not disappointed, and it was well deserved.
Trial etiquette really just kind of comes down to, how do you want to be treated? Do that to other people.
Right.
It's the golden rule all over again.
Yeah. And each sport is going to have like their own rules. Also, like, try to keep your distance from the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when another dog is in it, right? So
you don't want to accidentally distract.
No, like, and we proof, but there's only so much proofing we can do, right? Like, don't have food don't be snacking like 2 feet away from the ring, things like that. That's happened at trials before. I've heard stories, which is why.
Oh, no, I was that person. The first trial we went to, Terrence and I stopped to grab food on the way, and I was like behind the judge's table. It was an agility trial, so there was about 2.5 feet.
Oh. And
somebody leaned over there like, hey, back up. They're going to yell at you. And I'm like, okay. Just kind of like took about 4 steps back, and they looked over and they just gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because like everyone has a little bit of stress at a trial.
Oh, yeah.
So you can say something and it come out a totally different way than you intend.
Just a little bit of stress at trial.
I'm learning the more I can joke around with the judge while it's happening, the less stressed I am.
That's fair.
Probably part of the reason running Dolly was so fun in agility, because there was no time for stress.
Yeah.
You just had to go fast.
Right.
But we lost my train of thought on that one. So moving on, traveling out of town for trials. This will actually be my first out of town trial. So this one's all up to you. I don't know. And I'm also not staying the night. So
you're not. You're driving up there the day of?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm only doing 1 day because I've learned I do best with trials for 1 day.
Okay. I don't. If I'm driving somewhere, I'm gonna make it worth it. So I usually drive up there the night before, right? Because my start time is usually 8:30, 8:30. It's like at least a 1 to 3 hour drive. So I usually go up the night before, so I don't have to worry about traffic.
I just realized I'm gonna have to wake up pretty early that Saturday.
Yeah. Welcome to it. Check the weather reports.
Yeah.
Check your weather forecast. Because we're in Missouri. Just the Midwest in general for like our area. And it could be like rain in the morning and 80 degrees in the afternoon. So layers, whatever. Just pack whatever you think you need weather-wise.
Also, from trial chair perspective, we work really hard with hotels to get discounts
Yes.
for them. So if there is a hotel listed in your premium, please at least attempt to take advantage of that. Because if not enough people take advantage of it, they stop offering it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
So, like, thank goodness we have enough dog events that we have one hotel in town that is super, super dog friendly and, like, dog event friendly.
Yeah.
And so, like, we don't have to worry so much about them for our smaller clubs. But if you're trying to bring sports to an area and they're offering that and it's a smaller area, try to use that code or let them know you're with that group so they have better chance of continuing that relationship.
Yeah. So on that premium entry form, there'll be a list of dog-friendly hotels. Some of them have discounts if you call and say you're traveling, for this event. They'll waive the pet fee. They'll give like 5 or 10% off.
Sometimes this is not a guarantee.
This day. Sometimes, yeah. It depends on what kind of relationship the club has with the hotel and who's in charge of the hotel. But it's definitely worth looking into.
Most definitely. And if you are starting to look at being a trial chair, make sure that you put a release date on them so that you don't get charged. That, thank goodness, we had more experienced people.
Oh.
So essentially a release date, and you'll see it on the premium, you have to sign up for the hotel by the certain dates, usually a week or two before the trial, in order to secure that price, because otherwise it would be on whoever's card is on file to pay for all of the unused rooms.
Oh, the whole block.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we put a release date on, so that's why it shows like, hey, this could be, you can't last minute sign up for this hotel. Like, you do have to do a little bit of planning.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of doing a little bit of planning, my experience, the best time to rent your hotel room for the best rate is on a Friday, 2 weeks before the trial. So 2 weeks before you're staying on a Friday is generally when you're going to get the best rate.
How did you find this out?
I've done a lot of research and I travel to show my dogs a lot.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Also, you don't want to book with a third party.
No, to get the discount, you'll want to call
Yeah,
them.
you'll want to book directly with the hotel because if something dumb happens with your reservation, you're stuck on the phone trying to get a hold of hotels.com, Trivago, Kayak, whoever you booked it through. So just try to go to the hotel's website directly and make your reservation there, or just call it in so you can get the discount.
I will say, even my phone adversive self has had more luck with just calling a hotel to ask questions than anything else, because they can get it booked in like 30 seconds if you call them. And a lot of the times they're used to dealing with more technologically challenged people, so they are really nice about it.
I'm really impressed you're using your phone as a phone, actually.
Okay, listen, my previous job gave me legitimate phone trauma.
That's
There's only
fair.
so many times you can be cussed out before you don't want to make a
fair.
phone call
Yeah,
ever again.
if you've worked in a call center ever, you get it.
And moving this right along before we get on that tangent, I'm going to list off the essentials to pack.
Okay.
Add anything that I miss.
Okay.
Crate for your dog.
Yep.
Water and food bowls for your dog.
Okay.
Poop bags.
For your dog. That's the reaction I wanted. Go on.
At least one leash and collar. Any paperwork you think you might need for a trial? I've never needed paperwork for a trial.
No, but travel rules between states right now are getting dumb.
Oh, that's fun.
For dogs, yeah.
So you might need to check to see if you need like a travel passport or something from your vet.
Yeah. So you definitely want to make sure you have your vaccine records, your up-to-date vaccine records on you. And some states will require a certificate of travel from your vet. Yeah.
And some vets will call that a travel passport for your dog.
Yeah.
It's just interstate. Did not realize that was becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I don't travel for trials yet. We are nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
We're only really going up to Versailles because it's our friend group up at Smoking Guns that are hosting it.
Yeah.
And Heather is going to be
Is she a
an
judge?
apprentice judge.
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited for that.
Cool.
We just have to hope that the dogs don't get distracted by her and try to get love.
Yeah.
Chair for you.
Yes.
For the love of God, take a chair. You're going to not like yourself if you forget.
You're not going to want to sit on the floor the entire time and hope that somebody has a spare chair for you, which is a very good possibility. But still,
Yeah.
you want to have your own chair.
Shade or a tent if you're going to be outside, sunscreen, chapstick, especially if it's really windy. Windburn lips.
Oh, yeah.
Suck.
Yeah.
Bring some chapstick.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Good call.
I remember it every time I forget.
Yes. And
The day after.
Yes. And even if it's cloudy, you can still get a sunburn. So
Natalie.
bring your sunscreen.
I say that like I didn't have the exact same thing happen 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
And trial snacks for you.
Yes.
Anything high protein. You can ask and get a hold of your trial chair to see what amenities are on site. So like, I can't have gluten. Nosework trial, we had a microwave available.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made my own food, and I got a backpack from work that was a cooler backpack because it was one of the events I helped plan, and they were like, oh, we want to give free giveaways. And I'm like, okay, what would I use regularly? This thing has become a lifesaver. I use it on everything. Every time I have to travel for work or just go to a trial, I can stick a couple ice packs in it, and it's just a backpack cooler. So I can stick like 4 or 5 meals in it. So I'll put my food in that because while we did sell lunch, the cross-contamination probability was way higher than I was willing to handle.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of cross-contamination probability that I'll be like, all right, it's worth it. Pretty much anytime we go to a restaurant. At a trial where I need to be up and moving the whole time, I can't risk it. So I was just like, I'm going to bring my own food and just heat it up. And then I got asked like 10 different times what my breakfast was because apparently it smelled really good.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week of eating the same thing the whole week, I forgot what it smelled like. But then also like protein bars or granola bars. I think you put dried fruit.
Yeah,
and
I bring
We have very different
like,
snacks. I have wholemeal. She has snacks.
Yeah, I have snacks. I can't sit and eat a whole meal at a trial. Like I'm too nervous. And I'm just not hungry.
I'm giggling because
You know that.
one, I know this, but I'm also remembering my last powerlifting competition. I did the same thing. I took my lunch with me and ate it in the middle. After I finished my bench press, I went and heated up my lunch and ate it before the deadlift because I was going to, like, in my mind, there was no way I was lifting not 350 pounds that day for my deadlift. Like, that was my goal. I'd been working to it for like 2 years, and I did it. But one person looked over at me and went, how in the heck are you not stressed out so you can eat a whole meal? I went, well, I don't know, but I'm hitting that 350.
Yeah, so I bring things like cheese and cracker trays and trail mixes and pistachios. And
Pistachios are great.
Yeah. And like mints and little pieces of chocolate, like little like apple slices and beef jerky things. And
Got like a little mini charcuterie board going on.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Just like all its individual components.
Just like deconstructed charcuterie board.
Oh, that needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget that one. I just saw that way too vividly. Oh, that was amazing. Another thing, drinks for you. Water, juice,
Coffee.
coffee. Coffee is so intense that we actually, I think I accidentally wrote it down for $1. We were planning on giving coffee out for free at the trial, and I just was writing things down and forgot that we had decided that. So, yeah, don't forget coffee. It makes it a lot easier.
Well, our last trial, they had like a full kitchen and there was
Rose.
a coffee. Yeah. The whole like
Oh,
hospitality.
you meant the
food.
actual spread.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the food that she made.
Well,
she spent a week cooking that food.
I mean,
It was amazing.
yeah, it was well worth it. But just the coffee
It's like
at
a
the trial
4-pot
site.
industrial size coffee
Yeah.
that they let us use.
Yeah.
And we were just like, nice.
Thank you.
We
You were
kept
the
that
best.
pretty much brewing the whole day. I think
Yeah.
we went through like 3 pots a day.
Yeah.
Which isn't even that much. But there were like 50, 60
There was a lot of people there. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a small trial. But as far as coffee is concerned, it was a lot of people.
Anything else we need to make sure we pack?
For packing, no, I don't think
I
so.
feel like those are the big ones.
Yeah,
Like, obviously, if you're staying the night, your regular overnight bag.
right. Yeah.
Staying calm and focused on trial day. What did I say to you this past weekend when I realized that warm-up routine you gave me wasn't just for Merle?
Oh, that it was like for you too.
Yeah.
I have a training thing I want to go back to. So like
go back.
the week before your trial, don't work on any like super fancy high level skills.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Right? Yeah, so I'm guilty of this. I've done this before and I hated myself for it. So our weakness with my scent work dog is like pooling and fringing odor. So that's when odor collects like outside of where the source is at, right? I don't work on that stuff the week before a trial. I do that like well beforehand. The week of the trial, I work on super simple things like single room nose level hides or single hide searches at like nose or ground level. I don't do anything elevated because that's trickier. And with Nike, I'm not going to do my agility dog. I'm not going to do any like super hard, complex moves that I don't quite know how to do yet, right? So a trial to me is like a test, right? Yeah. So going into it, if cramming for a test is not going to help you, just like cramming for a trial is not going to help you. You want to do stuff that's motivational and confidence building for you and your dog. If you're doing stuff you don't know how to do the week before the trial, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to lose confidence. You're going to lose motivation. Don't do that. Just stick with like the fun, easy stuff for you and your dog. And then your trial will be fun and easy for you and your dog, hopefully.
That's fantastic. And if you don't know the reference for Fifth Try is the Charm, we know you are not in our Discord. So go ahead and join that. Shameless self-plug here. All right, so moving on to staying calm and focused on trial day. And I know I just kind of made the joke about we were going through our warm-ups, and I didn't realize until our second trial of day one how much the warm-ups were not just for Merle.
Right.
They get me into the right headspace.
Yep.
Because I was so flustered because I was running behind. Thankfully, because I was running around helping with everything, everybody was really nice and just let me change the run order up.
Yeah.
Including our judge.
Yeah.
And Merle did not have any issues in the ring of trying to go potty after that, so that was great. But yeah, no, doing a warm-up routine with your dog also mentally puts you in the right headspace.
Yeah, and it helps you get that connection with your dog. So it's not only warming up your dog's muscles, like you're also warming up with your dog. I do like cookie scatters, so I just kind of toss a treat back and forth for my scent work dog, and I try to get as much distance on it as possible. So I try to do it like in a spot where I have, space. And that helps me with my leash handling, right? So Dagon is going at like way out here, like 10 feet away to get this piece of kibble that I threw, right? So I'm standing put and I am like practicing my leash handling stuff. So it's a warm up for me too. And it's getting his heart rate up and his muscles moving like before he has to go into his search area.
I think Merle likes it because it's essentially just a bunch of his favorite tricks.
Yeah.
Like the warm up that you gave me for Dolly with agility is the same one I do for Merle because he moves quickly when he decides to. And I don't really want him to get injured because of being dumb boy dog.
Yeah, yeah. And letting them like run off some stress is also really helpful.
Yeah, we were doing full sprints.
Yeah, I know.
I have
saw
no
you.
idea how far the distance was. I should have had you video us because it was hilarious.
I don't know. It was
the looks
ridiculous.
I was getting from some of the older people.
Yeah, it's like, why are you running?
Tom looked at me and just started giggling. And Tom is one of our agility people out from Oklahoma with UKC, and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Things to do on trial day. Get there early.
Yep.
So you can get settled in, get your spot, make sure all your ducks are in a row. Unless you know that you're going to be running at a really late time because some sports are going to tell you what time you run.
Yeah. So with agility, you usually have a run or most sports usually have a run order. Rally and obedience will tell you the approximate start times of each class.
Nice.
Yeah, because each dog takes like 10 minutes for this level, and based on the amount of dogs that are entered, they can kind of tell, how long it's going to take for that class to run.
That's fun.
Yeah. So rally and obedience will do that. Agility will tell you like what the run order is for each class. Novice typically runs last. So if you're in novice, you have a little bit more, and you're not entering in like time to beat or fast or some other class that runs first thing in the morning. If you're just running novice, then you can get there a little bit later in the day and still be fine. So yeah, your approximate run order is going to be on the entry form usually. And sometimes the judge will decide to change the run order day of for multiple random reasons. Sometimes it's weather. Usually it's weather related in our area.
Another thing, which we just kind of went over, was developing that pre-run routine, which is your warm-ups and all that. Fun trick that we were taught by Cherry, who runs the Dalmatian, is to keep mints in your mouth.
Yes.
And like be nice to yourself.
Yes.
So like don't be a jerk to yourself either.
Right. Yeah. Peppermints will settle your stomach. It's got anti-nausea properties to it. So peppermint is very
if you can't have peppermint, good luck. I don't know what to
tell
I don't
know anything. I don't know an alternative to peppermint. But yeah, I usually have like mints or Altoids or something with me.
Always have Altoids.
My packing list. Yes, that's true.
Definitely make sure that you aren't comparing yourself to others. Everybody's doing their own thing. One person had commented, and I don't know if we're going to run out of time to get to this point or not, but one person had commented on like, pick something that's not a qualifying score to be your goal.
Yeah, your win condition, right? Yeah. So, and I saw that comment, I know what you're talking about. So yeah, if it's like your start line, if you can just if your goal going into the ring is to just nail your start line, and you nail your start line, run the rest of the course for fun and call that a win. You'll get your cue later on. And
I think you had also put a note in there about FEO runs.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really glad AKC started doing that for agility. FEO is for exhibition only, and it's pretty much allowing you to practice in a trial environment. Yes, you paid $15 to $25 for 60 seconds to practice in the ring, but it's going to pay off later. And I am also a novice agility handler, so I need to take my own advice and remember that I said that.
When you next start thinking that you're not ready to do AKC novice, I'm just going to clip this and send it to you.
Hey, we're not ready to do AKC novice.
You're a lot closer than you think you are.
We barely got our intro tunnelers.
That was a year ago.
Well, that's fair.
You guys have done a lot. So another thing someone commented was to always remember that you're walking out with the best dog. Like,
yes, your dog is the best dog.
One thing our barn hunt group does that I really, really like is having an NQ raffle.
Yes.
See, like some clubs will do this thing where they make NQs less frustrating by making them more fun. So you either get like ribbons where they can have some really snarky stuff on it that's hilarious. Or like our barn hunt group does an NQ raffle, which I think last time was like a leash or something.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. I actually didn't know about it till the second day. And I was like,
yeah,
oh man, we would have had so many more entries.
Yeah. One of the AKC scent work trials that I went to also did an NQ raffle. So anytime you didn't qualify for a run, you got like a raffle ticket you put in a basket, and then they drew at the end of each day for some sort of like consolation prize.
It's like, hey, you didn't walk out with the ribbon you wanted, but here's this thing,
here you
and
go.
Hopefully a good memory.
Yeah.
Amber is one of our people who started agility practice with me and Dolly, or agility training with me and Dolly, and has been able to keep at it. So she says, pick an easy goal. My first goal was we don't potty in the ring, and I'm thrilled to report he has yet to do so.
Yay.
Remember to breathe. Oh my gosh, I kept forgetting to breathe when I entered the ring. I had to make it a conscious part of our walk-in routine. I am so bad about that. I'd love to have a detailed list of what to bring to your first trial. I was desperately searching for one. It's totally normal to bring a cart or a wagon to drag everything, and that's a really good point we forgot about.
Yeah.
I was so nervous I would look like an excessive weirdo for having a wagon.
No.
Crate mat, crate cover.
Yeah.
Food and water dish, bottled water for you and your dog. Dog food for long days, extra poop bags, dog treats and rewards, favorite toy, fans to help keep the dog cool and you.
Yeah.
Chairs, leash, collar, and backups. Bring a towel for bad weather and for drying the dog or wiping muddy feet. I also bring baby diaper wipes and for bigger messes, which is smart. Also bring Benadryl in case my allergies act up.
Oh, yeah. Good call. You want to bring all your
don't forget your meds
and your supplements and things like that.
I also have a cooling mat for his crate or a bed with colder areas. I might be an overpacker.
I mean, my packing list, I make a packing list for my dog and I make one for me. And the one for my dog is significantly longer than the one for me.
Pretty much. Everyone that answered on TikTok pointed out making sure that you have somebody video your dog.
Yes.
And this was something Cara talked about too, was like, there is no way to replicate trial stress.
Right.
We practice in the same arena we trial at.
Mm-hmm.
Our dogs will behave totally different.
It's totally different.
When the barriers are up, there's so many people, all the other dogs are there.
Right.
It's going to be different.
Yeah.
And so it is really fun. We get to practice there. So they're at least going to know the turf and know the general layout.
Right.
It's
only
going to do so much when it actually gets to the day of.
And that depends on your venue too, because our AKC clubs, our UKC clubs, and our NADAC clubs all rent the same space.
Yep.
And the environment
is different between each club.
Yes, it is. It's a totally different environment.
Like you walk in and the vibe is different.
Yeah.
And you know what trial you're at before you've even consciously clicked it.
Yeah, you do. It's the weirdest thing. And it's the same people.
That's the weirdest part. 98% of the people are the same.
Yeah, It's the same people.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Making sure your dog stays comfortable, taking them out for regular potty breaks, things like that. Have enough water, enough snacks. You don't want to overfeed your dog because if they do get anxious, they could throw up, and that's not fun to clean up.
No.
Or fun to run after.
Right.
Then neither one of you are really going to be feeling it.
Yeah.
Listen for your run time.
Yes.
And your classes.
Yep.
The gate usually is the person who can yell the loudest.
Right.
And if not, everything's posted so you can go up and look.
Yeah. Make sure also your phone is charged because a lot of clubs are starting to use the Agility Gate app and the Remind app are pretty popular, and they'll announce classes
based from those.
And when they need your dog to start getting ready and getting in line.
And make sure you have your warm-up routine timed so you know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Don't be like me and technically miss your run and just be glad that they're all being nice. And the last one, respect the judges and volunteers. The judge is paid to be there.
Yeah.
Their word is law.
Right.
Most of the time, they're going to be nice to talk to if you have a question.
Right. Yeah.
But don't ask a question while another dog's running. Wait for between classes.
Right.
Or a lull in time.
Yeah.
And do not get in between the judge and a bathroom break.
Right.
They are standing out there for entirely too long.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they are trying to keep the trial moving as efficiently as possible.
Right. And if you are asking the judge a question, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, no. They will match your sass level.
They will.
And beat you.
And then some.
And they also have the ability to be like, hey, you're done. You're done for the day. Go home.
Yeah.
I've not actually heard of a judge doing
that happen. Yeah.
But it is written in every rule book I have read that they do have that power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a trial wouldn't run without the volunteers.
Right.
Just, it wouldn't. There's too much to do.
Yeah.
So much coordinating that's happening depending on what sport. And there's a reason that a lot of places will give volunteers a raffle ticket for like a 50-50 raffle, or to just put in whatever their raffle is, or like we did worker coupons, so it was $2 that you can put towards either food for the day of because we had food, or towards a next trial entry,
right, or a seminar entry. Yeah,
it's actually how I was able to run Merle in this last one. Was I worked so much in our last two trials last year that I had saved up enough trial tickets to run him in this one.
Yeah, I have a stack at home I should probably go through and turn in.
And also use your trial coupons so that we don't have to print more.
I should, yeah. Oh, yeah, good point.
Because they do get reused. After the trial, celebrate every small win.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Whether you cued or not.
Yeah.
There's something your dog did, something you did that you did better than the last time.
Right.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, even if you didn't cue, you definitely had moments of greatness. Like,
it might take watching the video back to catch them.
Yeah. If I can run like a full sequence of, I don't know, 7 obstacles without screwing up or getting sass barked at by my cattle dog, that's kind of a win for me. That's a moment of greatness, right? Hey, I handled that sequence right. With the rest of the run was
I don't know if you noticed or not, but on Tuesday she wasn't yelling at you for the majority of your running time out there. There were a couple times she was like, "Hey,"
did get a little sassy with me, which was well deserved. But still, yeah.
Overall,
she's getting,
you guys are communicating better.
She is getting better about not barking so much at me.
This next one is one that I struggle with. Don't dwell on your mistakes. And don't get overly competitive. It is a game. Your dog does not care how they do.
Yeah, and that's real easy for us to say, but
it's so hard to actually follow.
We're dog sport competitors, and we are competitive by nature. We just need to be more competitive with ourselves and like less with each other.
I definitely just need to be less competitive. Is part of mine.
Oh, that's fair.
And I don't think that's probably a therapy topic.
Yeah.
I've also joked that I just need to sign up for another powerlifting competition and just filter it through that energy.
There you go.
And just have fun with the dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I always take, like, on the way home or at trial, if I'm traveling, I always go out for ice cream with the dog. Yes.
So that
Yep.
goes into the next one, which is create a post-trial ritual to unwind.
Yep. Ice cream.
I think one of our people gets like those little tiny slider cheeseburgers.
Oh, yeah.
With
Yeah.
like nothing on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Which I think is adorable.
Yeah.
But if Merle ever finds out he can get that instead of like a pepperoni, I'll never be able to get him to eat a pepperoni
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And those are special trial treats, right?
Large things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Championships.
Right.
He
Yeah.
doesn't do this after every single one.
Yeah. No, this isn't like an everyday type thing. So we're not giving our dogs a bunch of like processed stuff.
Human food.
So, human food, right? Yeah.
I am still glad that 99% of the time Merle will still work for kibble.
Yeah.
Mostly because it helps him not gain a bunch of weight,
Yes.
which for him is very easy to do.
Yeah.
And then lastly, reflect on what worked well and what to tweak next time.
Yeah. So, and again, that's where video comes in helpful. So you can go back and review sequences or leash handling or, whatever. Pace rally or, something like that. Go back and like review your videos and see like what you need to work on and just make that the focus of your next few training sessions.
And a piece of advice I was given at our last agility practice, which feels like it should be common sense, especially after I was told it, but obviously wasn't. If you're videoing somebody or you're watching somebody and they immediately come out and they haven't even put their dog up yet, do not tell them what went wrong. Let them process it themselves. You are in that, especially agility, you're in that ring for like 45, 50 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
A lot is happening.
Yes.
And I know that. I've been in the ring. I've come out of the ring and literally just laid on the ground and handed somebody else my dog to put up because I could not catch my breath. Just don't give people the time to process it and don't give unsolicited advice. And if it's not asked for, it is unsolicited. I saw that as a comment on a TikTok recently. And I was
That's
like,
likely.
that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
So our training tip for this week, we actually didn't pick one in advance.
Yeah,
so
I was
just
gonna
grabbed
say,
one from our conversation.
I didn't
And
see one in our
from
notes.
Judge's comments. Leash handling
Yeah.
is really hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there is.
So if you're going to do a sport that you're probably going to have your dog on a long line, just go out in a field. Hopefully there aren't too many trees, so you're less likely to get tripped up. And practice your dog getting out farther, stepping over the leash, moving the leash around you, like do all the weird motions you could possibly have to do because you want to make sure that you're not going to accidentally kill yourself when you're in an actual situation.
Yeah. One of the instructors from one of my Finzi classes, and I've taken so many Finzi nose work classes, I couldn't tell you which one this came from or which instructor it was. But she had said in like one of her lectures or feedback to keep your toes to your dog's nose on or off leash.
You've told me that and it did not make sense.
Yeah. So toes need to face your dog's nose for scent work. So, and that goes whether you're on or off leash. But if you're on leash, that's going to help you with your leash handling because your dog's not going to be able to go behind you if your toes are pointing at your dog.
And if you're like me and you do a lot of rally stuff where you just drop the leash while you're practicing in public and you forgot that the novice rally is fully on leash.
Oh, yes.
Don't forget to actually train in public the things that you're working on so that you can do them in a trial so that you can get back to doing how you prefer if you don't want them to be on leash. Because, also, like, obey leash laws when you're practicing anything in public.
Yes, please.
So, like, Dolly, I would practice agility with her sometimes in the park. And so I would just leave a leash hooked up to her
Like a traffic lead?
This one was an 8-foot leash because I just took the handle off of it so it couldn't get caught on anything.
Okay.
That way, like, if something happens, I had that extra room to grab her.
Right, that's fair.
But I also held on to it until she went into a tunnel. That was the only time I'd drop it.
Okay.
Because I did not want her actually tripping on it or tying herself up in it. But it was a park that a lot of other dogs are at, and some people don't follow leash laws.
Yeah.
And Dolly, while not a bite risk, will sass another dog.
Oh,
and I don't trust the other dog to not react to that.
Yeah, that's more than fair.
Because she really does. She'll look at a dog that rushes her with the biggest look of try again you'll ever see.
Yeah, yeah. So
wonderful.
Practice your leash handling.
Yes.
And that's going to vary by sport, which is why we were being really vague about that.
Yeah, you have to be very vague.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I would love to say that you don't have to be vague. But if you practice like all of the movements, then you should always be fine.
Yeah.
For the most part. Don't sue me if you trip, please. And with that, that is the end of episode 4.
Are you counting Aubrey's?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, fair.
It's a bonus episode.
Okay.
And that's a teaser for when I finally get that one edited and released at some point.
Bonus episode.
We had our first interview episode with not one of us. So
yes.
Hope you enjoy that when it comes out.
Yeah, I was not involved in that, and I'm really looking forward to it because I am in the dark. Like, I have no idea what any of their conversations were, or questions, or topic. I got nothing. I know what you guys know.
I love it. I had a blast because I know Aubrey in person before this, so it was really fun. But yeah, that's going to wind it up. We actually haven't picked next month's topic yet, so you guys don't get a teaser for that one.
Yeah.
But we will see you in May.
Yes.
I about said April. That messed up the whole thing. Adios.